That time of year again, boys. Bit of a screencast just to go over your off-season training. Again, as usual, my guidance here is that I've given you your guidelines to come back in at. How you get there is entirely up to you as long as you're there. You don't want to fall into that category. Pre-season's going to be real tough, as you can imagine. But we're on with the schedule that we're running. We're going to have not as much days in, but the days will be intense. So if you don't want to be in on your days off during those days when you don't need to, if you could have just got ahead of the game now, it'd be best to just take that time where you be in those days, get your rest and recovery, and don't have to be in knocking over extra training that you don't need to do. So I will click to this one first. We'll just do weights first. All I've done here is giving you three uppers, three lower strength ones, and again you can pick whichever ones you need. If you're somebody who needs to put more weight on, work in the hypertrophy sections here, end of it. Again, you might pick one day, session one, session two, session three, just mix and match. You might want to, if you're somebody who's needs to work on the body composition, work on the aerobic conditioning, that type of thing. You might only do two weight sessions. You might do a good uppers and a good lowers. But again, everyone's going to be slightly individual here. If you want a bit more guidance, obviously, just come to me. Give us a text. Let me know what's what, and I'll put something a little bit more specific together for you. But again, what I'm always been big on, when I was a player as well, was just this is your time to put things together, enjoy your training, and get your head around about what you need to improve on, and not necessarily want to stick to a hard and fast training cycles. This term here, reps in reserve, RIR, means reps in reserve. All it means is if you're in a strength session here, you've got to your 8th rep, that you could maybe do one more rep, and that's it. Maybe one, maybe two reps. So you're taking yourself pretty close to max. On these ones here, particularly on week ones where we've got these 20 rep sets, again, this is more about having 2, 3. So you're not dying on that last one. So you've got good technique. Your technique's not gotten to rats yet. So you've maybe got 2, 3, maybe 2 more reps in there. But it's still been tough, but you've just got to that level of fatigue with a higher rep range than you would do on a strength session. Lowers is exactly the same. Particularly boys who are looking to put a bit of size on, these movements here, these are all freestand. There's nothing to a box, there's no breakup, it's just trying to maintain time under tension. This becomes more important here, having 3 reps in reserve. It's not about dying and then needing a spot off the last rep. It's about just going through your set, it being tough, and you're getting a bit of a blow because it's 20 reps. But you've got plenty of reps in there, so your technique's not ridiculously bad coming the end of the set. Watt bike, there'll hopefully be a bit more watt bike in the program coming into the pre-season, and what everybody is going to do is do an FTP test at some stage. FTP stands for functional threshold power. I've set a bit of a guidance here about how to get that, and a few of you boys will have done an FTP test. But these sessions here, I've just put 12 up on there, are all based on FTP. So I've just put 240 as a generic example of your FTP, and then what the intensities look like here. So if you can do these sessions, you make a note of it. So for the first one, you have 105%, which would be 252 FTP, and then you're going to but this is a continuous one, so there's no rest. So you only ever working at 105%. Or 95%, which is that's not actually on it, but we could add that one on there, so it's not too difficult to do. And that's what your cycle looks like. So you've got 12 here. Just for these last 3 here now, what you can do to make life easier, particularly with these 3, is download the Wattbike Hub. And what that does, if you sync your phone up via Bluetooth to the Wattbike, all you need to do is find one of these workouts. These are on the cycling simulation section of Wattbike. Press that workout, and it basically links up your phone and your iPad. So it does all the intervals for you. Tells you what speeds, intensities you need to cycle at a time. So it is dead easy. All these other ones here, again, are pretty self-explanatory. Again, but you can mix and match these however you want. Row and ski is exactly the same. This is the only one I want everybody to have a crack at, particularly on the row, although you can do it on the ski, is 170 metres in 30 seconds, 10 efforts, but you get a minute 30 recovery between each one. So don't just come in at 171 on the first one and just try and maintain. Between the first and the third one, really attack it, try and get a really, really big score. 180, there's most of you boys there should be able to pull 180 in 30 seconds, and then try and hang on with stay within 5% of that number. So there's in this instance there, so 181 would be about a 9 metre drop off, so you'd be about 171, 172, hence where this 170 comes from. It's a bit of a slow burner, and a minute 30 in the first 2 or 3 reps might seem like a long time to recover, but as you get through to 5, 6, 7, it becomes really, really tough. But again, that's where we're looking, and what's what we want to do moving forward. And get unbelievable power and intent in each 30-second effort, but then you get real good to build technique on the back of that. Again, the rest of these ones are all pretty self-explanatory. There's a couple of decent challenge here. This one you can do as a single, you can do it as 2 people, or do it as 3. Again, if the instructions aren't quite clear, just give us a ring and I'll talk you through that one. I know a few people have done that one before. It's a good one. Running. So obviously this is going to be all these bits in here now that we no stress or worry about anybody getting hurt doing any of this type of stuff. Running is probably going to be your most dangerous one. And obviously when we get into the pre-season, that'd be the time where you get a soft tissue injury doing some running stuff. So it's really important that you've got probably 3 weeks of worth of running under your belt before you come back in pre-season. So again, I'm not too concerned how you get that, or as long as you get somewhere between 7 and 9 running sessions in there. I say 7 because if you're in your mid-30s, early 30s, and you'd rather do a watt bike session, a real intense watt bike session, 2 of them, and maybe a less of a running session, and save your legs just a little bit for when you come back in, and you can get the same training effect, by all means do it that way. Some of you mid-range boys or younger boys, ideally you're doing 9, you're doing 3 sessions, so you're doing a Monday day, a Wednesday, a Friday, or a Monday, Thursday, Saturday, whatever it might be. But just a basic breakdown. So you've got MAS grids. Everyone's done these before. I've put a recommended grid size on that. If that's too hard for, if that's too easy for you, just a good rule of thumb is go up by 2 meters. So it'll be 67 and 42 on your grid, and that's 15 seconds to do your 65. 15 seconds active recovery to get across the rest of the grid, and then you go round and round. Dead basic progression. You do a 4-minute cycle on the first one, 3 sets, 5 on the second week, 6 on the week after. And we've got some extensive shuttles here. They're just shuttles that take above 40 seconds in duration. So you've got Broken Bronco, 10 back, 20 back, 30 back, and then 50-meter kick chase. That's 170-meter shuttle. A continuous 100-meter turnaround. So basically, you're going to run 100 meters in 17 seconds, and you've got to jog back to the start. And you've got 43 seconds if you get it in the 17, and before you repeat again. A 500-meter shuttle. This is pretty tasty. This one. So that's a 25 back, 50 back, 75 back, 100 back. You get those in 2 minutes. And it's a 500-meter shuttle, obviously. So you don't need to do many of them or many sets of them. But again, it's along with that theme of just a bit more time under tension, if you will do, just getting a bit more mileage in your legs. More of your intensive stuff here, sharper shuttles. So we've got a 60-meter shuttle with a 10 back, 20 back, 120 shuttle, 10 back, 20 back, 30 back. A 60-meter shuttle, that's a 20, 20, 20. So you'd finish on the opposite side on your shuttle, but you're still covering 60 meters. And then you've got a 90-meter shuttle, a 90-meter shuttle. They're 20 seconds on and 20 seconds off. Again, with the 22 you're finishing on the opposite side each time. And then just some of these high speed efforts now, your tempo runs. So you're going to get up to a pretty decent high speed, and then you've got a longer rest recovery in between each one on them now. But again, that's just about building some high speed tolerance, particularly coming into that week before you come in there. Or second, so maybe if you're doing this in a 3-week progression on weeks 2 and 3, probably having some higher speed stuff in there. Again, just so when we bring you back in, that worry is you're not having to worry about your calves, your hamstrings feeling really stiff and sore coming in there in that first two weeks. basically, on the premise that we always work on, and I always work on, is if you've got some running under your belt and we can get you through that, get you through, make sure you can compete and attack all the way through your pre-season period without picking up a soft tissue injury of any description, then you're going to be a lot less likely to pick up something in season. And that's the way that we're always running. And it tells us that you've got some good solid training load under your belt, and you're in good general training state. So we can chuck some training load at you on weeks 1 and 2, and not have to worry about you breaking down in there with a slight calf strain that might keep you out for 2 weeks, and you're missing all the rugby stuff that obviously is really important to improve. So again, that's a general overview. That's a general guideline. I send this into the WhatsApp group. I send it out to everybody individually. If you've got any other questions about how you want to set this up, by all means, get in contact with me. I'm going to be in England camp for the next 6-7 weeks, hopefully up until the World Cup final. But I'll have downtime while I'm in there to talk through anything and meet up with anybody if you need me to in the meantime as well. Cheers, boys.